It's about a girl who into her mind seeking adventure, but she wasn't quite sure. But somehow deep inside her, she had this deep want to be somebody one day and to arise above the life she was living. And she always looking on the bright side of life, hoping one day she would rise above whatever her life is and to grow up, be useful, and be happy. And as she go along traveling in her life, she would find whatever her wishes are and go on to develop whatever is possible. And our aim was to work hard. She was very ambitious, very bright, but she was different. And she knew she was different, but that did not bother her. What bothered her was the life ahead. She always had deep wants inside of her, wanting to achieve and wanted her life to be successful. But at that time, she did not know how to go about it. She did not have the courage to talk to somebody about our wishes and our wants. She kept it deep inside her. And having this deep want inside her for many years, many long years, she had this feeling inside of her, who am I? She asking herself. As if she was living in a lonely, our mind was lonely. Our mind was hers. Our head was clear. Our path was clear. She could see the world as it is. And she go on, develop her own personality. She had this thing about her, this intention. She always realizing what people says. Maybe because she was different, why she is conscious of what people is saying, and as if she's just searching a path out for herself and trying to make her own way in life, which wasn't a bad thing. But as time goes by, she lives her life and still having these deep wants. It never goes away. It's always embedded into her. And she grew up and she lived her life, and she was from a big family, but she wouldn't tell anyone the wants that she had, the wish that she had for the future. And she was happy. And she enjoyed her life. She enjoyed the things around her. And as times go by, she developed a standard of life. Somehow that bestowed upon her from her generation. Her generation have a big part into her life because she have a good upbringing. It been told to the young ones that they have worth in life, and they grow up with that intention that they have worth and they have love and people respect them in their own way, and they cherish their thoughts and grow up with that mind inside to know they are loved, looked after, cared for. And somehow the wheel of life turns. There was opportunity arises beyond our wildest dream, where she had the opportunity to explore the world. She was overwhelmed. She was excited. She pinched herself to say, is that me? Is this happening to me? But somehow she always admired well-to-do people. And she always adopts some principle from the life that she's seen and learned. And somehow it rub off on her life. And learn to be calm, learn to understand, and learn to satisfy with small and great. And our turn came one sunny day, a telephone call from abroad, from her ancestors who admire her from beyond our wildest dream, that she could get an opportunity to travel the world. Our whole perception on life changed from that day. Our outlook on life changed. Our attitude changed. And she developed to someone beyond our wildest dream. And she was willing to take up that challenge. And that challenge was before her. And life. Anyway, everything rolled into one. She was to travel on that plane, and she was a young girl traveling on a long distance. She never traveled on her own before, but she's going to travel on a plane on her own to go abroad to a new life. And she was excited, she was vulnerable, and she was young, and she was bright, and she was open-minded. And she remembered the story told to her as a child. Hold your head up, girl. Hold your head up and be somebody in your life and be counted. And someone, somewhere, saw her from their eyes. And that morning when she was going to travel on that plane, gave her a booklet. And she did love to read. That was one of her best subjects. Somehow, someone bestowed that booklet upon her. And that booklet became her best friend on that flight, that long distance, long haul flight. And she read it from beginning to end. And that booklet have taught her something that lasts a lifetime in her life for years to come. And it taught her how a young person traveling on your own to somewhere new, the pitfall and the rise of life, how to conduct yourself, the unknown. And she has gained a lot from that little booklet. And somehow, as if that little booklet ruled her life for years after, because she still remember that little booklet, even though she's moved from one place to another, and she lost that booklet as if she lost part of her soul, because she did love that booklet. But somehow, the memory is still lingering on. And it goes on. Life goes on. Situation. And she thinks she found her happiness. Not long after she came into the country, when she was going to go on a bus to somewhere new, and she doesn't know where to come off that bus, she was told by others how many bus stops she should count, how many stops the bus make, and what number of stops to come off, whether it's a 3 bus stop or 5 bus stop. And she was taught these things, and she always listened and record things in her mind and plan things, because when you plan things in your life, it make your life much easier because it's planned. And she goes on and she finds her way. But one thing that happened to her, and that journey, the plane stopped to refill in Newfoundland in Canada. And she never seen snow before in her life. And the snow was foot high. And it's the first in her life she ever beheld snow. And it was like, it wasn't day, it was night. The plane got to refuel and then take off back toward its destination. And she was into the waiting room, the waiting area. And she went up to the desk where they sell newspaper and things like that, and she buy a magazine. And on the magazine, it said A Kiss in the Snow. She did not know any difference. She just buy a magazine, and it happened to be that written on the magazine, A Kiss in the Snow. And she get a coin. She get coin change. And when she look on the coin, on one side of the coin, it said, "In God we trust." And many years after, she think to herself, the coin said, "In God we trust." And the coin is a piece of metal. And we are human. And human supposed to say, "In God we trust," and trust in God, in reality. But the coin says, "In God we trust." And she said to her in her mind, think in her mind, if a coin can say, "In God we trust," and it's only a piece of metal, what about us human beings? We should be jumping up and praising and say, "In God we trust," because God helped you along in your life before you was born and until eternity. Anyway, that was that. And she arrived into the country and she's enjoying her scenery and started her life. And that very first day she arrived into the country, and when the plane was coming down to land, she seen houses. And at another time she think in her mind, houses, is it factories? Because all the doors and windows were shut. And in our country, the country that she just left, all the doors and windows are open. So she said to her in her mind, think in her mind, those must be factories, why the door and the window shut. Because she hear about factory when she was into our country. So she just thought those buildings may be factories. Anyway, the plane landed and went through custom, everything sorted out, and she was on her own and she was young, and said, what's the address you're going to? Someone come to meet you? Or what? She thought she could take a taxi because it's around the corner. But the good people then said, okay, whoever is going to that area you're going, stand in one group, and they take us after down to the train station and have a talk with the guard and ask the guard, these people, please, could you put them on the right train to where they are going? And the train came, the guard put us on the train, and we sat down, and some of us didn't know each other. We had to see one another on the plane, but we never know each other before. But we started talking, and each one tell others about the story, and just chat, normally chat. And the train arrived into its destination, and she was looking through the window, and she saw this tall man running along the train window with the train, because the train was coming slowly. And she said to herself, my dad is away a long time, and I didn't remember what he looks like, but I have something in my mind saying, that is my dad. And he ran with the train, and she with her eye watching him and watching the space, because it's first you see in that place. And eventually it was her dad. And she was the happiest person under the sun. Her dad was away for many, many years, and she always think in her mind what he looks like. And then when she reached home at night and she was looking around through the window, the house where she stopped was in a shopping area, and then there a shop across the road, and she saw people standing in queue going up to the counter, and she saw people wrapping like food into newspaper, and the people one by one leave out, and the queue gets shorter and shorter. And she did not know what it was until many days after she realized that was her first sight of fish and chips wrapping in newspaper. She was amazed, excited, and everything. And that was her life. And she enjoyed life and everything. And it's gone, and this young man she never seen before in her life, he was casually dressed. She was in her pretty clothes, pretty shoes. Vulnerable just came into the country, and he sort of came to talk to her, seems gentle. He was from the same place, he says, as her, and he's living to the country before, and he seems very nice. He was into alligator skin shoes, a sporting shirt, a felt hat, And he was dressed well to impress. And she think to herself, why does he fancy me? But anyway, he seemed so charming. And she chatted to him because she didn't have much friends, only her dad friends, no one else. And then he seems to want to be seen her whenever and chat and things like that. And it seems very good. And she chat. And she thought she never know anyone that wasn't nice. Where she comes from, it was normalized. So she thinks the world is normal. People to people is just all right. And it's gone for a very long time. They've been friends, always seen together, always happy, always laughing, and everything. Until so happened that it click and they get together and he seems after a long time to not so happy anymore. He seems to want to blame her for the least thing, and he want to criticize, and everything she does is she's wrong. And she starts to feel lonely. She hasn't got many friends. And as if she's hooked and she don't know what to do. And she's not the sort of person to go and tell people what was happening. She sort of didn't hide it from herself, saying, this can't be real. Is it real or is she dreaming? Or is it real? Because she was young and where she come from, it was an ordinary life. She never met anyone like that. She did not know how to deal with it. But anyway, it's carried on for a while. And he started to tell her about, you have open teeth. Oh, someone fancy you. And he started to dominate over her. And she pulled into her shell as if she lived into a tight shell. She's in bondage. She don't know what to do. She's not capable because she came into the country. And she hasn't got the strength to deal with the new country, the new life, the new situation. She was young. And she sort of dismissed it and did not know pitfall of life. She never know anyone like that before. She never seen anyone like that before. She never seen anyone treated like that. And she did not know how to deal with it. And he began, little by little, digging to her and said, oh, you're seeing somebody. You are talking to somebody. And he had the reign over her. And she sort of just closed down on her life as if she's in bandage. And he can do whatever he wants to do, say whatever he wants to say. And she is so vulnerable and weak. And it was bad. But eventually, she had to come out of him. She had to find strength from somewhere and come out. And find our way. But she wouldn't wish that on anyone. She did not know that could happen to anyone. Especially someone who are searching for a new life. Never seen anyone like that. Never heard of anyone like that. But it happened to her. But eventually she escaped it. Don't know how, but she escaped it. Because there's a God above. And she escaped it and find her way. And she becomes strong. She was strong before, but she's stronger. And that would ever... She doesn't have any grudge. And she hasn't gotten any hate. But no one could ever do that to her again. Because she concentrates her life on working, build up herself, and make her life the way she can. And find her own happiness. And success came to her from the goodness of her heart and the willingness and the upbringing she has as a child and the love that she gets from a child, and that help her to grow into a better person with much knowledge, understanding, hope in eyes, care, and love, and sensitive and wise.